Now I'm very excited to welcome back a longtime friend of the show. You've heard him on many sports radio shows across the country. You can find some of his work at Vegas Insider as well as MajorWager.com. I'm really happy to welcome back Mr. Brian Edwards from BrianEdwardsSports.com and Major Wager. You can follow him at Vegas B Edwards. Brian, finally some Big Ten games, man. It was dry for a while. Some really ugly crap we had to deal with, and we have a big UFC weekend. How the heck you doing?
Oh, man, the Gators did not lose this past weekend. The Falcons won, although I hate Arthur Smith for a passion. I can't believe he didn't go for two, and I cannot believe he continues to only target Kyle Pitts, probably the best player in the NFL, like 7 times a game. And everybody's like going crazy. Oh, most yards by a tight end ever. Throw him the damn ball and let him get 250 a game. I'm so tired of this nonsense. But anyway, I'm doing good. What's up?
I love the rant, man. No, I agree. It cost me a pushed my play, and it cost me a circa play. So, I mean, what the fuck, dude? Go for 2 that late in the game. And you know Matt Ryan's going to blow it and give them the ball back like they did, like he did. And Atlanta's defense is terrible, man.
Oh, awful.
Well, man, I love watching some of your rants. You said that Pitts needs 13 targets minimum, and I agree with you. I don't see how the heck you're not throwing to Pitts. You know they're doubling with the safety over Ridley anyway. There's no.
And hey, what happened? What happened with them when they had the double on the pass that got us in field goal range? What happened? He caught it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's double teamed. Throw it to him. He goes up and gets it in triple teams, like the Alabama game last year. Does not matter.
Doesn't matter. It's just how Florida did it too. I mean, when he was a Gator, the guy's amazing.
Remember the Alabama game, that last touchdown? He threw into triple coverage, and Pitts just went up, grounded, and looked at those little boys, including Patrick Surtain's like, you bitch. What's up?
When a guy can go 12 feet up in the air, you throw him the ball high. It don't matter. He's going to catch it. So, hopefully they'll figure that out. But maybe Arthur Smith is worried about
a moron.
Well, hey, man, try being a Bear fan. You don't want anything to do with that either. That's true. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Let's get in some college then, man. Big weekend here, and we're going to start with some big games. I have Michigan State versus Michigan, and it's 4.5. It got hit, though, I noticed about an hour ago. I'm seeing more 4s now, with a total of 50 points. So I'll start here, being the Big Ten connoisseur all my life. I've been looking forward to this game, man. I mean, both teams are 7-0. Who the hell would have expected Michigan State to be 7-0? Most people are. Nobody. Both these teams 7-0. I didn't expect it. So, I mean, the Wolverines, they're good when you don't hear anything about Harbaugh. It seems like the media hates Harbaugh, and I don't even know why. It's like, who the hell beats Ohio State anyway, is what I say. And I've been saying that for a long time. Our listeners know this on the pod. But at the same time, Mel Tucker has been a massive surprise for me. I'm baffled. Oh, yeah. I'm baffled, being that he was such a terrible defensive coordinator in the NFL for Jacksonville and Chicago. And then just got a bunch of transfers, worked hard, made this team believe, and they look fantastic.
Wait, so that's where he was before he got to Georgia? He was a DC for the Jags and the Bears?
Yeah, the Jags had their worst defense ever, and this was before, they kind of made that little run. And so the Bears noticed how bad he is, and so they hire him. That's what they did. they hire bad, people that are terrible. And so then he was terrible in the Bears. Bears defense ranked 31st. And I'm like, well, okay, he goes to Georgia. And I'm like, well, he's got 5-star recruits. I mean, who the hell can't coach that is what I'm thinking. He goes to Colorado, screws them over after a year. Yes. And then he lands at Michigan State. And I'm like, terrible hire. And the dude is just proving me wrong, man. And, this is a big spread, man, for this game. I don't care what anybody said. This is a rivalry. Both teams great at running the ball, 5.4 yards per rush. Michigan State defends the run better, though, only allowing 3.27 yards per rush to Michigan's 3.56. Now, Michigan State has the edge passing the ball, 9.2 yards per attempt. Michigan's at 8, but the Wolverines have the advantage defending the pass, ranking 33rd in success rate to Sparty's 65th. Here's the thing here. Michigan State, believe it or not, they're getting to the quarterback pretty well. They ranked 29th in sack rate to Michigan's at 91st. And I think Michigan had a slightly harder schedule. They had to go to Wisconsin, but it's not like they played Penn State yet. It's not like they played Ohio State yet, right? They kind of had a few easier games. They almost choked that one up against Nebraska, if you remember too. This is too big. This is too big of a spread, man. I took it at 4. I'm surprised it went against me. I expect more money to come in on Michigan State. My power ratings have this game too. I'm playing Sparty plus 4, 4.5, whatever for 3 stars. Any thoughts?
Yeah, brilliant minds think alike. I made it a pick 'em, so I'll gladly take. I got it at 4.5.
Nice.
I'll gladly take that. I think it's a toss-up game. The Spartans have won 5 of their 7 by double-digit margins. Only exceptions were Nebraska and Indiana. Walker has been terrific, 997 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 6.6 yards per carry. He would be leading the nation in rushing yards, but Syracuse's Sean Tucker has got an extra game on him and passed him this past week. Peyton Thorne, you can go from being a really bad team to when you have abysmal quarterback play like they did last year, and then you get really good quarterback play, and you can turn it around like this. So last year, Thorne and Rocky Lombardi combined for 11-12 TD-INT ratio, and Thorne this year is 15-4. He's got 2 really good receivers in Jalen Naylor and Jaden Reed. Their defense, their defensive stats are not that great, except for their scoring D is number 20 in the nation. They only give up 18.7 points per game. So when they get down in the red zone, they obviously tighten up. Michigan's only 10-12 against the spread, 22 games a road favorite during Jim Harbaugh's tenure. I like Sparty plus the 4.5.
Sprinkle that money line too, baby.
Yeah, I'll probably get a little touch of that. Yeah, I'll probably get a little touch of that.
100%. Great minds, like you said. Well, hopefully it comes through for us then.
Right.
I think there's going to be probably 25-30% Michigan fans, but it's nothing like people think just because they share the same state means it's going to be a massive crowd difference. I mean, there's teams that share the same state, and the state next to them in the same conference is actually closer to drive to those places. So you're still going to see, 75% Sparty, I believe. Let's move on to this game here. Texas versus Baylor. Baylor's -3. The total is 60.5. I'll let you start this one.
Well, I made Texas -2, so obviously I lean that way, but I'm not implying I'm going to be on it. I did fade Baylor one time, and I paid for it. As I get to their page, I'll remember who
was
that
it. BYU? Because I paid for that.
No, it was West Virginia. I don't know why in the world I took West Virginia. I've always liked Neil Brown, but
because what they did to TCU last week, man. That's why you took West Virginia. They just didn't show up against Baylor.
They surely did not in Waco. That was an ass beating. So, Texas is just, I like their offense usually when they're not turning it over. They have had 2 weeks to prepare, but so has Baylor. And I lean Texas, but right now it's more likely a pass. If the line would, it's still 3, right? Baylor -3.
It's still 3, and I think it's going to move to 3.5. So if you
if it went to 3.5 or 4, I doubt it. I'm in a contest where we have to pick 25 games that are given to us, and I know that'll be one of them. I'll be picking Texas in my contest, but I doubt I'll play it.
Shit, 25 games. That's forced plays for you, man.
Yeah, for sure it is. There's always like 5 where I'm like, geez, I don't know what to do on this one.
Well, I'll tell you this: when I gave out Baylor over 5.5 wins, I took some crud for it. I did it real early this year. I was high on them. I didn't know they were going to be like this, and I'm happy about that. But I did lose a bet against them, and it was the BYU one. I thought BYU would keep close. I was thinking, it was like 6.5, 7 I got. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take BYU here. They just come off a nasty loss, and then they end up losing again. Jerry Bohannon, man, 65.5% completion. 12-1 TD to interception ratio, 8.9
he's been
yards per
good.
attempt. What the hell? Yeah, this guy looks fantastic this year, and you got to give him. I wonder what his Heisman price is. Now, of course, he's not putting up some of the yards that like people like Virginia and Ole Miss is, but still, man, if this team keeps chugging along, he's looking good. This game reminds me a little bit of like the Clemson versus Pittsburgh. I think it's a perception line, and I was on Pittsburgh last week, thank goodness, but Texas just doesn't have the results that Clemson had. Why are they getting this much respect is what I'm wondering. Now, there is some power ratings I checked that actually did have Texas a little bit better. Sagarin's the only one that agrees with me that has Baylor better. But looking at the metrics, Baylor shows better in rushing and passing categories, 6.1 yards per rush. That's amazing to Texas's 5.6. Texas, great offensive team, but Baylor is right with them in pass yards per pass at about 9 too. It's pretty amazing. Now,
the only thing I would say there, Kiev, is I think that Texas has played a lot better competition.
And thank you for introducing that.
Thank you for interrupting you right where exactly where you were going.
I mean, you could call Arkansas and Oklahoma certainly better competition, but I mean, has Arkansas really lived up to what they did lately? Not really. They've been getting their butts spanked a little bit, and I know the SEC is better for sure, but they got blown out against Arkansas. In Oklahoma, what the hell was that collapse? In Oklahoma, struggling against Kansas last week. So, yeah, I mean, I still say Texas's schedule is better, but not that much better.
Right.
I mean, Baylor's still played, BYU, Iowa State, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, but I mean, come on now. My Raging Cajuns are a lot better. Actually, I'm going to have Texas State, which has played Baylor. I'm going to have Texas State as one of my picks against the Raging Cajuns. But I'm getting 22, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. Louisiana was in that game against Texas for almost the whole time. And
field goals instead of touchdowns is what it was. Levi Lewis played good that game.
He did play good that game. Louisiana's got a weird team this year for sure.
I've got them mastered, bro. You get on them in the right spot. Well, not Texas, I lost, but I had them against App State and on the money line in that midweek game. I faded them with Ark State last week. So I guess I'm just 2-1 in their games, but I feel like I got a third win because I had money line plus 180, and now I'm going against them as a big fave this week. Sorry,
we'll count it. We'll count it. EPA margin, Baylor 20th, Texas 77. Texas is just like hot and cold the whole time. You can't trust them. Tell me who's Texas is beaten though, besides Louisiana. Can you even say Louisiana's a great win? Sunbelt.
Not a great win, no.
Did they lose to Monroe? Did the Raging Cajuns lose to Louisiana?
No. They haven't lost to anybody but Texas. Now they've had some gross non-covers. They almost lost to Arkansas State, who's only won once last week.
Okay, yep. That was ugly.
They beat South Alabama by 2. They've got 3 nail biters as 20-point favorites that they've won.
Nicholls State 3-point win.
There you go.
Georgia Southern 8-point win. South Alabama 2-point win for sure. And then all of a sudden they blow out Appalachian State, who just beat Coastal Carolina last week. Point is, Baylor has better wins. Iowa State's a great win. Of course, they were outgained a little bit, but they did what they had to do. They kind of grew along with the season. I think the wrong team. I think on a neutral site, this should be maybe where the spread is. I think this should be a 6 or 7 point spread. I got Baylor by 7.
You love Baylor this week. I hear you.
I love Baylor, baby. I got the 2.5 though, but I'll take it at 3. I'm just saying my premium guys got the better number.
Yeah, that's a pass for me.
Well, I'll give it out of 3 just for less, a couple stars maybe. Now let's move on to the next Big Ten game, which is the biggest Big Ten game of the weekend here. Penn State versus Ohio State. Minus 18.5, total 60. Now this, I see 19s, man. And so when I wrote this, the momentum keep moving towards Ohio State. Now this is a massive spread for the first and second, maybe best team in the Big Ten. Now Penn State, they say should have beat Iowa, right? Of course, they had that stinker against Illinois, but that was a look-ahead spot. If you know what a look-ahead spot is, that was it. even coming off the bye, that was pretty embarrassing for them. But at the same time, man, this spread was 11 and 11 and a half a week ago, right? And then now it's all of a sudden 18 or 19. That's a 7-point swing. That's big. 7 to 8 point swing, actually. Now is it warranted? I mean, Ohio State beat the crap out of Indiana. That rainstorm, Ohio State looked better than they do on dry weather this game, man.
Right?
It was amazing. In their metrics, massive 2.4 net yard per play advantage. And in Penn State themselves is positive, like 1 point some net yards per play. But let's look at the schedule here again, though. Penn State played at Wisconsin. They won that. They played at Iowa, which was a tough one with the Clifford injury. They beat a pretty good Auburn team, and there was some poor officiating in that game. They should have beat Auburn by more, and Auburn's just beating the crap out of a couple teams lately. And Ohio State's toughest game was against Oregon at home, and they lost that game. What's their second toughest game? Minnesota, maybe?
Yep.
Maybe? Holy cow, Rutgers?
It's easily Minnesota. And they would have lost that game if Mohammed Ibrahim didn't get hurt. Maybe they might have lost. Maybe they.
Oh, it was some pretty poor Big Ten.
Oh, and they had some gift calls that game. Ohio State did.
Dude, it's got to stop at some point, for crying out. But at the same time, I mean, Ohio State's the most improved team in the Big Ten. Absolutely.
The last month they've been dynamite.
Right now, no knock against them. They are number 3 in my power range behind Georgia and Alabama for sure. No disagreement there. So Ohio State Buckeye fans, I'm still on Ohio State in general, but man, this is a massive spread. If the Nittany Lions have chance, they rank 33rd in stuff rate, while Ohio State ranks 87th. Penn State also ranks 3rd in defensive passing success rate. So if they can get to the quarterback a little bit here, and Clifford can throw the ball, because Ohio State ranks 73rd in defensive passing success rate, they have a shot here to be in this game. My power number is minus 14.75, giving them 4 points for home field. Do I give them more for the night game? Maybe, but that's still past the 17 here. This is just a big rivalry, man. Normally what I do, Brian, is I bet Penn State the first half, and I bet Ohio State the second half. I mean, I've been doing that for years, and it's been working. I'm doing that again for sure. But I'm putting a little bit on the plus 19 just because of the overreaction. Okay, I'd be more upset with myself not taking this win than taking the loss. If Ohio State beats them by 20 or more points, I'll take the 19, but I'm betting it first half Penn State and second half Ohio State. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's Penn State or pass, and I'm going to be on Penn State. Not a big play, but a little bit. I made it 14. You look at the last 5 head-to-heads. Penn State won 24-21 and 16. In 2017, they lost 39-38. In 2018, I believe that was the infamous 4th and 6. Let's run the quarterback. Awful play selection by James Franklin and his OC, which I don't think was Moorhead at the time. They lose that one by 1. They were almost in field goal range. And in 19, they lost by 11. And last year, they lost by 13. So they haven't lost by more than 13 to Ohio State in at least 5 years. They had a lot of extra snaps last week with the overtimes, but I don't know that that's much of a factor. Clifford, you would think, would be a little healthier. But, I mean, look, Penn State only gives up an average, and I know Ohio State will get more than this, but they only give up 14.7 points per game. That's 6th in the nation. And add a 10 extra for Illinois last week because of overtime. They had 10 in regulation. So, I mean, a team that only averages giving up 14.7 points per game over a 7-game stretch, and you can get 19 points. Yeah, I like Penn State. Not a lot. I mean, because Ohio State's on fire and scoring a lot. So I respect that. But it's definitely a Penn State or pass, and I'll have a little bit on Penn State.
I don't mind an underplay either. I didn't take it, but It's consideration for me. Like you said, Penn State's defense allowing 14 points. Ohio State's defense gotten better. People
What's
are going
that total again? I'm sorry.
60, 61-ish.
Whoa, that's huge for Penn State.
I think so too. I mean, there's so many ways this under could hit. I mean, Penn State doesn't score, right? Ohio State actually has a little bit a challenge with Penn State's D.
They're going to be challenged by that defense.
I think so too. I think last weekend was a little fluky. They destroyed Indiana, and good for them. And every pass was freaking perfect from C.J. Stroud. But I don't mind this under at all. I don't mind it. And I mean, you'd have to get double invested if you take Penn State and the under. But sometimes that's just how we have to live, my friend.
Right.
Let's move on to UNLV versus Nevada. Now, you put an article out on Major Wager for this game, but I'm going to let you break it down here. And just the only thing I have to say is, believe it or not, my pure number is 20.5. It's freaking
all right.
But that's my pure number. It's not like I'm not factoring in the rivalry, the in-state deal, right? I mean, I have to lean to UNLV just because of the spot. It's ugly as hell, but that's my lean. Why don't you break it down?
Yeah, so UNLV is atrocious 0-13 straight up under Marcus Arroyo, but they are 5-2 against the spread this year. And despite being winless, they have been in 4 consecutive one-possession games. And the first two, one was, at Fresno State as a 30-point underdog, a game that they led by double digits a good chunk of the first half. And even once Fresno surged into the lead, UNLV came back, took the lead again. They ended up losing by 8, but easily covered. Then the next week they go to UTSA, which is still undefeated, 8-0, albeit in Conference USA. But they go to UTSA and they lose 24-17. But I think I had some more notes on this game. Well, anyway, yeah, they lose by 7 in that game. They cover as 21.5 point dogs. And so that's 2 one-possession games with Fresno and UTSA, who are a combined 14-2 straight up. Then they play Utah State at home, and they had they led Utah State 24-21 in the fourth quarter. The Aggies rallied. They win 28-24, but the Rebels cover as 7.5 point home dogs. Then last week against San Jose State, they led 17-3 with like a minute and a half left in the second quarter. And San Jose State got a touchdown to make it 17. They got a field goal to make it 17-6. And I heard my buddy Matt Humans and JVT on VSiN talking about this the other day. They just kind of vaguely referenced it. Were you watching that game late first half, San Jose State UNLV by chance last Friday?
No, I did. I missed that one.
Yeah, I missed it too. But they were implying that Arroyo did something really stupid clock management wise, and that's why San Jose State got the ball back after cutting it to 17-6 with 1:07 left, and then they get a touchdown with 2 seconds left in the first half. I don't know what exactly happened, but apparently Arroyo made a dipstick move, and they end up actually not covering despite a 20-13 lead. Early in the fourth, San Jose State gets 2 touchdowns, and they win by 7 as a 6-point favorite. But the point is,
I heard all about it. I had guys on the odds breakers, some handicappers, completely pissed off about
trashing Arroyo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I have to go look at the play-by-play, but I haven't. But the point is that UNLV has been in 4 straight one-possession games, including 2 with UTSA and Fresno State, which are high-quality teams, certainly in the Mountain West and Conference USA. And so now they go on the road to Nevada. Nevada, not only are they coming off a heartbreaker to Fresno, but this is a bit of a look ahead for them because they've got San Jose State on deck, and that's who beat them last year to get to the Mountain Western Conference Championship game. And then after that, they've got undefeated San Diego State. So it's a total look ahead for Nevada, which is also on a short week. Nevada played late Saturday night, and now they got to play Friday, albeit at home. But UNLV played last Thursday, so they've got 2 extra days of rest, prep, etc. And they're catching 20.5. Now, I recommend buying the half point to the key number of 21. And again, I mean, this is a winless team, and Arroyo is not the best coach. So I'm not, implying you drop the hammer on this game, kind of like Penn State. But I will be on Penn State, and I am on UNLV. Moderate average plays, money management wise amount.
Well broken down. All the key indicators say take UNLV. I wonder if we wait and get a 21. So I think I'll be on your side here.
Still early in the week, we might.
Yeah, I don't think, unless I get a 21 early, I'm not sure if I'll give it out to clients or anything, but I believe that you are on the right side here for sure. This could be a 1-score game. Maybe if you can find an alt line or something plus 10 and get like plus 250 or something.
let me add a couple more things that I left out just real briefly. So in the last 4 head-to-head, UNLV has actually won outright twice, and the 2 losses, one was 37-19 by 18 points. The other one's 23-16, a 1-possession game. And UNLV's running back Charles Williams, he's got 714 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 5.0 yards per carry average. And all he needs is 80 rushing yards in this game to become the school's all-time leader in career rushing yards. And he had 221, 3 touchdowns on 27 attempts against Utah State 2 weeks ago. So that's all I got.
No, that's good stuff, and something to pay attention to. And if you look, defensive rushing success rate, Nevada only ranks 123rd in defensive rush success rate. So if that's what they're doing, that's a pretty good. Oh,
they're going to be feeding the rock. I mean, Charles Williams hopefully gets 30 totes, I hope.
Oh, good stuff, man. I think you convinced me. Next game, Ole Miss versus Auburn. Auburn laying about 3 points now. The total is 67. This spread moved up. Ole Miss, it was closer to pick them early this week. Now my power numbers have Auburn only 0.75 of a 3/4 of a point better. But if you look at the metrics, Auburn averages 5.8 yards per rush to Ole Miss giving up about 4.1. Auburn with the harder schedule. I think Auburn should just be able to run the ball all day. I don't even know why you pass the ball. You try to keep it out of Matt Corral's hands, much to my chagrin. My Heisman ticket might get destroyed here on Matt Corral, but man, the only way that I would play this is Auburn, even at the 3, but I'm probably passing. I even think the under could happen if Auburn is smart and Harsin has just them run the game or run the ball during the game. So those are my thoughts.
Auburn has won 5 in a row in this rivalry. And Ole Miss is 1-7 at Jordan-Hare since 2004. A big personnel news for Ole Miss. Their starting center, Ben Brown, who until the LSU game, which he missed, he got hurt against Tennessee. He had started 40 consecutive games in a row, and he had season-ending surgery yesterday.
I think he's tore his bicep or something.
Yeah, so he's out for the year. So that's a big blow to their O-line. Now, they did get a transfer from Utah kind of late when the Utah transfer realized he wasn't going to be getting much playing time because Utah had a guy on the O-line coming back that missed all last season. He transferred, so maybe they've got some relief there. But that's maybe their best O-lineman's out. That's kind of a big deal. And the recent rivalry has been all Auburn. And if you know SEC history, and Ole Miss does not get this point in the season with only 1 loss very often, and it kind of feels like Auburn to me. But I think I missed the boat when I could have gotten it to pick them or even +1 on Sunday or early Monday. So right now I'm probably just going to sit back and watch, maybe look at something halftime or in game. Would love for either team to get out to a 14-0 lead and be able to get the other at a decent size plus in game. But if that's assuming I stay on the sidelines, which right now I'm probably on this. So I don't really like much in the SEC other than my Gators, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
At some point, man. Next game.
All right, cool. Works for me.
The world largest cocktail party. Brian, are you going to be there in your Gator zoot suit, drinking a few cocktails yourself?
Man, I've just not had the urge to want to go to a game this year, just because I need to watch all the games. And I hate getting somewhere where I'm not in control of what games I'm watching. And
I totally agree with you.
It's just kind of how I am these days.
I mean, I choose a sports book or multiple televisions over going to the game many times. Yes. I feel you.
98% of the time these days.
We're getting old, Brian.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I still love going to the game, but I hate missing out on all the other games. So no, I'm definitely not going this week. Now, when there's a light schedule like Atlanta, I always go to Atlanta. I went last year. That was the only game I went to last year. But all right, Gators. It's Gators. The Gators are the play. I mean,
would you ever bet Georgia here?
No,
it would hurt your feelings too much.
I would not bet Georgia. I mean, if I thought they were going to win by more than 14, I'd think about it, but they're not winning by more than 14. I don't even know that they're winning. So, look, we can't rip on anything about Georgia this year. They've been so incredibly dominant, and hat tip to them for all that. And, at the time, Arkansas was ranked. Maybe even Auburn was ranked. Actually, Auburn still is ranked, as they should be. Kentucky was ranked. But when we look at their defense, which is just putting up, record-breaking dominance numbers, and now that we're a few, weeks removed from these games, now let's look back. Clemson, dog shit offense. South Carolina, one of the worst offenses in recent SEC memory.
I think both of those teams got worse somehow.
South Carolina and Clemson. Since they played, they've gotten even worse. Yes. Vanderbilt, they got nothing. Arkansas, they scored a lot of points on Ole Miss, and Arkansas is not bad, but that game was over like in three possessions. Bo Nix struggles at times. Kentucky's offense is not all that great. They only had like 220 yards against Florida. I don't know how many they had against Georgia. I think they had at least that many, though, I think. But anyway, my point is Florida is the best offense that Georgia has faced, and it's not even close. And if Anthony Richardson plays more, which I think he will, after he led Florida to 4 straight touchdown drives in the second half against LSU, Florida can score points on this defense. I know this defense looks like nobody can touch them, but trust me, Florida's going to score points. And now, do I worry about Todd Grantham and scheming up some, stopping Georgia's run? Because I think they are very good at running the ball. I worry about that. But I don't think their passing game is elite. Isn't
Georgia's running back out?
Well, they've got 3 of them, so it doesn't matter. One of them's out, but McIntosh and White are good. I think Kendall Milton's out for a few weeks, but they've got, and I think 2 of them are hurt, but they got 4 of them. Out of McIntosh, White, and Cook, I think another one is hurt. They're fine. Don't worry. They're fine at running back.
Not that worried.
They're fine. They're fine at running back. But JT Daniels hasn't really played much at all in the last month or so. And, Kirby sounds like he's going to play him some, which I think is a mistake. I would just keep rolling with Stetson Bennett. And Stetson Bennett was not very good against the Gators last year. And, I worry the one advantage where I really see Georgia having is their run game against Florida. But Florida's run defense was really good all year except for the LSU game, which is just so baffling and perplexing. But Florida's going to cover, and I don't think anybody should be shocked if Florida wins this game. And I know all that matters is wins and losses, and you are what you are, and Florida's 4-3. And I hear you. I hear that thought process. But, and this doesn't matter, but a blocked field goal is a 10-point swing against Kentucky. Out-yarded them like 380 to 220. Out-yarded Bama by like 110 yards. No reason on earth we should have lost to LSU. I mean, Florida could easily be 7-0 if you just take away the field goal against Kentucky and just give us one of those three horrifically egregious calls in the first quarter that went Alabama's way that was like at least a 14-point difference in that game, or we just make an extra point in that game. Anyway, my point is this is not David against Goliath in any way, shape, or form. Florida goes into this game confident that they're going to win this game. And I don't know that they'll win, but they will cover, and nobody should act surprised if they do win. And it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen in this game. And Florida's got plenty of horses to win this game outright, especially if they can win the turnover battle. But they haven't been creating a whole lot of turnovers, so we shall see.
We shall see. And you didn't convince me on this one as much as UNLV.
Oh, you're going to lay the points with Georgia? What's your number? What did you make the number?
14.75. And
okay, so that's a pass for you, right?
It's a pass. I'm just saying I was waiting to go over the edge. But here's the thing. I mean, you're obviously a Gator fan.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, is Florida's offense that much better than Auburn's, what they're doing lately?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
hell yeah.
I have Florida the 8th best team. All right. I am the 8th best
in the country right now.
Yeah. 8th or 7th. I mean, that LSU loss had stink all over it, though. What the hell was that?
I don't know how they let Todd Grantham get on the airplane. Seriously, we scored 46 against Bama and lose last year, and I know that was one of the all-time great offenses, but we scored 42 in Red Stick, and we get on an airplane with an L after scoring 42 at Tiger Stadium. Are you kidding me? That is unacceptable. You're off the airplane. Stay back here. Get a Greyhound.
Hitchhike home.
Hitchhike home for all I give up. I don't care what you do.
Georgia hasn't even allowed a team to score over 13 points.
This is true.
Yeah, everyone was on Kentucky too, and Georgia still covered. And Kentucky.
No, they didn't.
Didn't they cover?
No.
What was the number?
Like 24.
Oh, it was like a back. Oh, maybe okay.
It was like sitting on a push, wasn't it? Or no, they missed that extra point. Well, it depends because it kind of bounced around from 23 to 24. Georgia goes up 30-7, but they missed the extra point that would have made it 31-7. So it might have been sitting on a push or a win one way or the other. And Kentucky scored with like 3 seconds left or something, or maybe the last play.
Yeah, it was 20. So Georgia won by 27.
No, it was 30-13.
Oh, no. Okay. You're right. Yep. Kentucky backdoored it. That's what happened. Okay. So, I mean, here's the thing. Kentucky, I thought was somewhat for real. I like Levis over there, and I mean, they did beat Florida. Now we don't go A, B, and C and everything, but my concern is just Georgia just doesn't allow people to score. And does Kirby Smart instill what the hell happened last year to them at all in this game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had 38 points with like 3 minutes left in the first half, and Kyle Pitts got hurt late first quarter, I think, or early second. I mean, we could have scored 50 in the first half on them last year.
Let me tell you this. If JT Daniels starts, I like Florida more.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. You got to wonder if that creates some friction in the locker room too. And I've been saying this for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, why is Kirby not just naming Bennett his starter? I mean, but you give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Kirby does some weird stuff.
He does. And he's not a good game coach at all.
No, he's not. And sometimes when
Georgia can he recruit?
Shit, man. Georgia actually last 3 years, well, at least 2019 to 21, at the top recruiting classes completely. I think they are average like 1.5, better than Bama even. It was pretty crazy. I don't know what he does. He must be a hell of a sweet talker to those parents, man.
Yeah, I wonder what the hell he does. Well, it doesn't matter now that we've got.
He brings in that sweet pie. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He knocks on the door, brings in that sweet pie or something. But man, this game is going to be fantastic to watch, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. Maybe I'll be a part if JT Daniels plays. I completely agree. Start Stetson Bennett. This weird stuff, it's gone on long enough. Maybe he's scared that if he announces a starter, he's going to choke, which eventually people catch on to that and they choke anyway. You know, just do it, man. Instill it and say, be by his side the whole game is what I have to say.
Let me ask you something about Mr. Daniels from California. Let me ask you this, because I wonder, and I don't have any inside knowledge here. When he didn't play against Vandy the week before, or I think he did play a possession or two and then left, and he had a whole week, to get ready because he didn't play the rest of that game. He basically left like after 2 possessions, I think, against Vandy. When he did not play in that Arkansas game, Arkansas is undefeated, it's CBS or maybe it's ESPN, whatever, noon, huge game, and he just doesn't play. Like, I remember I was like, he's not playing? Like, I just remember in my mind, I was like, if I'm on that team, I'm like, all right, you're the guy we can depend on, Stetson. You're the guy. You're our guy. And that was then. Then he plays, good on the road at Auburn, plays good against Kentucky. And now, JT Daniels, he got an ACL in week 1. And look, I'm not privy. Maybe I'm being unfair here because I'm not privy to his medical info. But I know that people do not take 16 months to get back from an ACL these days. I mean,
it's weird. I think that he thinks that maybe JT's injury prone, and why would I go down to one quarterback this part of the season? I'll put Stetson in. He's not going to get injured. He's not going to do something stupid. But if I call him the starter, I'm worried he's going to choke, and then there's going to be a big controversy. That's what Kirby's thinking, in my opinion.
But my question is, do you think Daniels is soft?
Yes. I thought he was soft since USC, bro.
Yes. I mean, this California boy is not wanting to even give it a shot against Arkansas when you're both 4-0. And after Arkansas's off that huge win against A&M, and then now you're out another damn month. And it was funny how after Florida beat them last year, all of a sudden, now he's ready to play. He's ready to play now. Oh, and then he starts 4 in a row, puts up pretty good numbers, and everybody's like, this guy's a Heisman favorite. And I'm just like, what? This guy is soft.
I almost puked when I heard that. I almost puked when I heard that, my friend. But hey, like I said, I think Bennett's going to start anyway. This is not. You won't see any JT Daniels in this game. Let's move on to UFC 267 then, my friend. And I'm calling this one the Russian Revolution because you have freaking 8 fighters from Russian here going to Abu Dhabi to participate in this event, man. I just see Russian flag after Russian flag when I'm looking at this card, but it's fantastic because some of the best fighters in the UFC, Khabib, they're Russian, man. And man, I got to tell you, I like some favorites. I'm just telling you, man.
Me too.
I honestly think that these terrible prices that I would never bet on a favorite are still too low, man. But let's just start with let's start with the main event here because there's really not much to say. When Jean beat Izzy Adesanya, he convinced the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the best 205 guy. I mean, he was a dog to Izzy, and he beat him.
Oh, I had him. I took him against Izzy.
Oh, good call. I can't remember if I did. I don't remember. I know I'm having a great UFC year, but I can't remember if I took him. But man, I could see him finishing Glover in many different ways. Glover's 41 years old, man. I mean,
yeah, I thought he was older than that.
Yeah, maybe lied on his age or something. His birthday.
No. You're right. He's 41. Oh wait, actually, he turns 42 tomorrow.
Holy cow! Right in the day. Birthday.
Yeah, he turns 42 tomorrow.
Forgot the birthday handicap, man.
Right. Right.
Well, John's going to give him a big happy birthday because
Sure.
I don't see him losing this fight. Now, I will say that Glover, 18 KOs, 9 submissions, 5 decisions, is a dangerous fighter.
Sure.
That's for sure. He deserves to contend here, still even at his age. But John's just better. Yeah, I mean, Glover. I still can't explain the Gustafsson loss, the Corey Anderson loss. What the hell is that? He's been up and down a little bit, but Jean can play with him, compete with him. John's bigger. John's going to win this fight. That's all I have to say. The question is, who am I parlaying with Jean? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I wanted to do Blachowicz prop by KO, but it looks like that there's no difference between that and inside the distance. Now, I don't see him submitting Glover, and I do think that Glover's legit chance is getting this to the ground because Blachowicz showed us good groundwork against Izzy, but he's a lot heavier than Izzy, and I don't think he wants to mess around with Glover on the ground. And no, I think Glover's not like necessarily super aggressive with takedowns. I mean, he's confident in his hands too. But if Blachowicz is the same price inside the distance as KO, you just take it inside the distance in case he gets a submission, which I don't see happening. So I think
Blachowicz has 9 submissions and 8 KOs, so that could happen.
Yeah. Right. I just don't. Let's see how many times has Glover's never been submitted ever. That's why I say that.
Never. But the price is equal, y'all.
You got to just take it. You got to just do it inside the distance, and it's either minus 110 or plus 100. Not bad at all. So I think you do that, and I'm good with Blachowicz in a parlay, and I'm still working on that, which I'm about to put in the parlay calculator. So I'll get back to you on that parlay here in a minute, but just the one bet that I really like is Blachowicz inside the distance minus 110 or even money.
All right, no, good stuff, and I agree with you. He's going to defend his title well here. If this does go the distance, they're going to give it to Jean anyway. I mean, that's what they do for champs. They kind of lean towards you have to finish them. Just in general, I want to say. I mean, I've seen too many John Jones fights where he goes the distance and it looks like he gets beat and they give it to him anyway. So I believe that I believe it's going to be a win. I'm just not completely convinced on the KO part of it. Now, I'll tell you this about Glover. He does have some lungs on him. I mean, he went pretty far with Anthony Smith, and he beat Anthony Smith. I like Anthony Smith a lot. I think Anthony Smith
I do too.
Fantastic fighter, but he goes with Krylov, he goes 3 rounds. He hasn't had a 5-round fight since Smith, but then he finished him in the 5th, and then Serkinov. No,
was that one of the worst late stoppages ever on Anthony Smith and Glover? I mean, what the fudge was that ref doing? I mean, it wasn't as bad as Petr Yan and Aldo.
Mm-hmm. It was bad.
It was bad though.
Yeah, Smith should have went longer, right? I agree, and it's stupid that they do that, and some just make stupid decisions, and that's some of the stuff you have to deal with. It's still not as bad as the NBA, in my opinion,
right?
But no, that's my cap. So why don't you put that in the calculator here, and I'll move on to the next one. Jan versus Corey Sandhagen here. Now, Petr Yan, if you guys remember, got disqualified, was beating the absolute shit out of Aljamain. And Aljamain's just dead on the ground. And then Jan just gives him the big knee to the head. Now, I'm
dumbest UFC move I've ever seen in my life, I think.
Oh, it costed me, man. It costed me. And I'll tell you this. There is absolutely no way Aljamain was coming back. And no. Jan still did that. But here's the smart thing. Aljamain stayed out. Now, whether he could have came back, I'm not a freaking doctor. I'm not Aljamain Sterling. I can't tell you that, but there's no way in hell I would come back to that. I'm going to take the freaking title because of the stupid rule that they have that the title switches over that. The rule should be there's a disqualification, you lose the fight, retain the title. That's what the rule should be. The second time, if you get disqualified, you give up the title, right?
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's actually all. And now Aljamain's dodging him. He's got to fight Sandhagen, who's a very good fighter. And I admit, I was on Sandhagen when he got screwed over against that Dillashaw fight. Dillashaw's bear hugging him pretty much against the against the cage, right? Just backwards bear hugging. It's not even doing nothing. A couple knees to the thighs, and freaking Sandhagen's giving him flying knees. Dillashaw's broken into pieces, barely goes.
Yeah.
They give freaking Dillashaw the round because of his bear hugging, his control, which is completely terrible. But at the same time, I think Jan is that much better than Dillashaw, and Jan's on a freaking mission to get his title back. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a knockout at all. I think Sandhagen backs away. He's smart. He was barely even cut in those 5 rounds against Dillashaw. Maybe a little. Okay, he's a little bit, but not as bad as Dillashaw.
Nothing compared to what Dillashaw looks like.
So I could see a lot of different things happening. I just think Jan wins the fight. Now, it's a great price. It's probably a good price on Sandhagen. You're not going to find another price on him like this. But at the same time, Jan's going to be my other parlay leg with Blachowicz. So it's going to be Jan and Blachowicz in a parlay. And you're probably looking -2. I'm just going to guess here. -2 set. Let's just say it's -290 with Blachowicz. I'm seeing mostly 290s, a couple 275s, and Jan -235. You're almost at 1-to-1 here.
Okay, so are you asking my take on this one?
Yeah, you go whenever you're ready. Whatever you're ready. I'm parlaying the top 2 fights here, Jan and Blachowicz, for about a 1-to-1 payout.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, Jan is a monster, dude. This kid is he's tough as nails. I mean, Faber landed some really good stuff on him early, and Jan weathered that, and even Sterling got off to a pretty good start in that fight in the first round. And I mean, nothing major, but Jan handled that and then started dominating. Oh, Aldo was having a lot of success early in that fight. So Jan, he just like takes the best that his opponent gives, and then he's just still right there, not even tired, and now he's ready to do his work. And
he doesn't come out of the gate. He kind of just plays you a little bit.
Yeah, but I think that could potentially hurt him here. And I'm not implying that I'm going to be risking a lot at all, because I have worlds of respect for Jan. But I am getting a little taste of Sandhagen, especially if I can get like the +220 that's available at BetMGM. It's more like there's a couple of +200s, Bet Rivers, DraftKings +190, William Hill +190. But as long as I can get +190, I'm going to get a little bit of Sandhagen. I mean, we both agree he didn't lose the Dillashaw fight, and he just got caught in that submission by Aljo, not even 90 seconds deep in the first round. And other than that, I mean, those are his only UFC losses, and he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 7. So he's 7-2 in the UFC. We both think it should be 8-1. I mean, he's got a nice win over a Sunsao, Lineker. I mean, just a highlight reel KOs over Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes, who are two absolute beasts. I think Sandhagen's got a chance to win by finish early, is his best chance. And I think his height and his length could play into this. But again, I have a lot of respect for Jan. I think, if it were best out of 7, like, the NBA or Major League Baseball, I think Jan in a best out of 7 is the best 135er in the world. But I think Sandhagen's probably the second best, and I think Sandhagen can beat anybody on any given night. And so I'm going to go a little bit on Sandhagen. Nothing crazy, though.
All right. Well, there you go. A little bit on Sandhagen. Let's move on to the next fight here. Was it Islam
Makhachev
versus Dan Hooker? And Makhachev, I've bet on Makhachev for a long time. I probably have been betting him every single fight, but look at the price just kind of getting away from me. I mean, Makachev minus 650, 625, 700. I'm just looking at all these books here. While Hooker's at plus 450, plus 460. Dan Hooker has no chance in hell in this. So what you have to decide is if this is going to, if Hooker can, take this fight to decision. If
he can take this fight to decision.
Well, it's a 3-round fight. Or do you even want to use Islam at a minus 650 in a parlay leg? I mean, it doesn't add that much value for it. Right. I mean, if you're going to do some just massive parlay, maybe you do it, but, something that we would never give away. But man, I just don't see any way Dan Hooker wins this fight. But Islam has been just great on the mat, man. He's just been submitting the hell out of his opponents lately. Just looking at his last couple of fights here, Thiago Moises, he submitted him in a rear naked choke. It took him a while to get to it. It did get to the 4th round there, so I will mention that. Then he submitted.
God, that fight sucked.
Yeah. Well, I
had money on Makachev.
Well, I had Makachev by submission, so it didn't suck for me. But
I bet you thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure, especially the end.
Thoroughly. Drew Dober was the submission, and this was his fight before. Dober's a decent fighter, man. I like Dober. He really tries hard. Then he had a couple weird decisions with Davi Ramos, a couple other guys, Sarukin. Man, I think I'm going to play Islam by submission. He hasn't knocked anyone out in a while. He has 3 KOs, 9 submissions, and 8 decisions. But I do agree that Dan Hooker might be able to get this thing to the distance. But at the same time, Dan Hooker's probably going to put himself out there a little bit.
He's going to go wild for the finish. Dan Hooker don't give a fuck, dude. He ain't scared of nobody. That dude, in my opinion, one of the worst beats I've ever had in UFC was I had Dustin Poirier in that 5-round fight when we were right in the heart of the pandemic still, and there wasn't anything to bet on. And I was huge on Poirier that night to win by
KO.
A KO, or I think I had some inside the distance too to protect. I was rooting hard on the submission. I mean, he had him in 2 of the nastiest rear or guillotines I've ever seen, deepest, nastiest. He must have caught him with so many death shots. I mean, Hooker is tough as can be. He is so flipping tough. And he's not going to be worried about, a lot of people when they fight Khabib or Islam, they're worried about, I can't throw a kick because he's going to take me down and then I'm going to get my ass beat for 4.5 minutes. No, Hooker don't give a fuck. He is coming to take your head. I'm not saying he's gonna, but I mean, I do give Hooker a potential chance. I mean, he caught Poirier a couple of times and he's got some nasty knees. I give Hooker a chance. Now he'll have to win in round 1 or early 2nd, but Islam is, I don't know when Islam's going to lose.
So yeah, this could be
a Khabib like reign, that goes longer than Khabib.
I think but it's also that nasty 155 class, right, where Poirier is. Yeah. I mean, is the next fight Islam versus Poirier? Maybe, right? Islam takes care of this one. What's going to stop him for a title fight? The dude deserves it.
Well, but I think Gaethje beats Chandler and he gets the next title shot.
Well, me and you love Gaethje, but Jesus Christ, he's had it before.
But Gaethje Poirier was the fight of the year in 2018, and who on God's green earth wouldn't want to see that thing again?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying what Islam has done at 20-1. I mean, look at Cyril Gane getting his title fight here coming up. It's
going to be Gaethje and Poirier, assuming they take care of business their next fights. I would be shocked.
It must be tough to be in this weight class with the amount of studs in it, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this weight class is a Shark Tank.
All right. Well, I'm thinking Islam in the distance now more than at plus 150 instead of the submission at plus 240. I mean, if Dan Hooker's just going to go for the jugular, he can get caught too. So, I'm going to think more about that. Well, let's move on to the next one then. This is interesting here. You got Alexander Volkanov versus Marcin Tybura. I believe I said that right.
Tybura. I think
Tybura. I've watched Marcin fight a couple times. And
I didn't realize he's on a 5-fight winning streak. Damn.
I did that quietly, right? I mean,
very quiet.
He loses to Sakai, which is a decent fighter, really. And then, just kind of goes through some people. Greg Hardy's one of them. I would say tier 2 Greg Hardy. I put him in like a upper tier 2. Walt Harris, maybe.
Hey, have you heard why did Big Ticket pull out of his last fight? Have you heard anything?
I don't know. I
don't
don't know what happened. Was he injured?
I don't know. He supposed to be in this? Oh, he was supposed to fight. Yeah, Tai Tuivasa in this one, and I think they moved Tuivasa to like the next pay-per-view against somebody. I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear, so
yeah,
no clue. He's not like like on Sure Dog here. He's not scheduled. It looks for some reason. So
yeah, I hope it's just an injury. I just worry. Him and his family have been through so much craziness.
Yes. I think we did talk about that before. I faded Volkov when he faced
Black Beast, baby, the rally win, the last minute. Was that what? No, I was on that one. We were going nuts.
No, I think I had the Black Beast by KO back in 18.
You had to remember that because what a miracle win.
I do. It was. But Volkanov is an amazing fighter. Like when he beat Overeem. When he beat Overeem, I'm like, man, Overeem just got his ass kicked. He wasn't even in this fight the way I looked at it, man. Now, when he fought Gon, he took Gon to freaking the distance. Gon had some struggle. Gon's there jumping up trying to knee a 6'7" dude. I thought that was an interesting fight. Now, with not too many fireworks, and of course, then I have Gon by decision. Then he ends up freaking KOing the Black Beast, right back in August 7th, which was. You saw that coming. You're like, man, he's not. Derek Lewis is not going to last this fight, is what I saw. But unfortunately, I wish you could live bet some of this crap. But
I can live bet UFC.
Oh, where at?
My friendly account.
We'll
only between rounds. You got like 45 seconds to get it in.
Oh, okay. Well, none of my books really offer that. So. We'll talk about that later, but Marchand, to be honest with you, has a chance in hell, I would say, a puncher's chance. I mean, if he does catch Volkanov can be successful. Volkanov's 33-9, 2 KOs, 2 submissions. The thing about Marchand is he's actually submitted some people in the past. I think he's more of a stand-up dude now. I was considering a small half unit play on Marchand by KO and just kiss it goodbye if I lose, but what are your thoughts on this?
I like the under for somebody to get put night. I see William Hill has under 1.5 at plus 163. And then if you want to do under 2.5, most books are either minus 110 either way or minus 120 either way. I think I do that for most heavyweight fights that don't involve the pitbull Andrei Arlovsky because all his flipping fights go to the decision. But I take a lot of unders on heavyweight fights, and I think it's a good strategy for the most part.
I love under 2.5 at freaking minus 110. Mm-hmm. That's a great price.
Mm-hmm.
You moved me on this one. Why take the shot with Marchand?
When you can get a regular bet on the under and you got 12.5 minutes for it to happen.
Yeah, 1/6 of the fight is what you need to avoid, the final last 1/6 of the fight, right? So that's exactly probably the play. You convinced me on that. I like it. And I think anything else on this one?
On that fight, no, I don't like the side. Well, I mean, I think Volkov wins, but I don't. I certainly would not. And I don't even want to put Volkov in a parlay because Tabora's pretty hot right now. He's won 5 in a row.
Yeah, I agree. He is hot right now. All right, there you go. Let's move on to the next one. This is a big one. Was it Jingling Lee versus Cosmo Chimaev? And holy cow, I've been on Kamzat for a long time. And from
me too. First time I ever laid eyes on him.
Dude, since we were getting plus money on him, man. for years, and God, when he beat Mearshart, it was just disgusting.
Oh, I had him every way you could bet him. I had him to win in round 1. I had him to win by KO. I had him starting a parlay with like all kind of stuff on the card. Yeah, it was.
Not that Mearshart's all that great, but the dude's been there forever. 33 wins, 14 losses. I mean,
I don't think he's lost since he lost that. I know he hasn't. I think he's gone 2-0 since then, right?
You're right. He has, man.
I'm looking right now.
Khamzat.
Yep, he's gone 2-0 with 2 submissions, 1 and 2 performance of the night bonuses.
Dude, look at these stats. 9 significant strikes landed per minute. You never see that. To 4.52 for Lee, which is actually really good, but this is ridiculous. Significant strike accuracy, 80.33%. What the hell? His takedowns are 4.67. Now, he hasn't had a full schedule, but still, man. I mean, what's the price? What's the price on this one?
So minus 550.
Okay, so it's like an Islam price, right? It's like an Islam price. I mean, I'm taking Khamzat in the first round.
Yep.
I'm taking him by TKO, and I'm probably going to take him in maybe first round TKO too. It's just that's how I'm doing it, man. I don't even think that.
The thing that's scary though, man, is he is equally adept at submissions. So
just maybe just first round. Then maybe just first round's the best one if that's what you're saying. Now here's the thing. I agree with you that he does go for submission a lot. I mean, he's got 3 submissions and 6 KOs, but this man has just been KOing people these last 2 fights, and I'm sure he knows he can do it again pretty quickly. 3 submissions, 6 KOs. You probably take him in the first round. Within the distance, you bet it. If you want to sprinkle a little bit on a KO, maybe so too.
Well, that UFC debut, he had a submission, knockouts and back-to-back, correct? So I'm with you. I'm going in the round 1, which is sorry, I just had it a second ago. Well, I see it anywhere from plus 120 to plus 195. So hopefully you get about plus 150. I also think you and this is another way I bet his last fight with Mearshart. I think you bet the under as well, and under 1.5 rounds is either minus 110, minus 115, or minus 120 either way. And then you bet him to win in round 1. Now, for him to win by KO is plus 150. Let's see, what is the inside?
Chimaev wins in round 1 is 170. Just wins in round 1. From what
that's plus 170.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Absolutely. I see it plus 170 at William Hill.
It's plus 165 at Unibet. I'm just looking on this board here, best fight odds.
I'm the same place, but there's the plus 120 at DraftKings, which is the one that was on the low end.
Oh, yuck! Of course, one of the books I have. But it's I'll wait till it pops up in a few other places, and we'll make a decision there. But either way, I think we're taking a couple different angles on this. You could win them all too if you do it right. Do it, within the distance, under 1.5, and wins in round 1.
But minus 175 is inside the distance. But I still think you got to protect yourself from the submission. Well, or maybe just take a little bit on the submission and a lot more on the KO. So what the submission is plus like 225 or maybe plus 300 at a couple spots. So maybe you just do more on the prop to win by KO. But get a little taste of the submission just to protect yourself. And then also on the under. And if you're working it, so I was going to do a parlay with Blachowicz, Chimaev, and Islam, but those 3, it's not even money. So forget that. But I do recommend Kazmat Chimaev in any parlay that any of your listeners might be doing. And I would probably throw Amanda Ribas in there, but I have not studied. I don't know anything about her opponent, and that's my bad for not doing that yet. I just have been studying football, and I haven't gotten to the lower bouts yet. But Amanda Ribas was undefeated until her last fight. She got knocked out. I got to study this other girl she's going against, but I would think Ribas is going to bounce back because she's a badass.
I think so too. And I'm not even getting to the undercard yet, and that's going to be for premium members later. And as a matter of fact, there's a lot of different ways to bet this card. Like I said, I'm going to do some parlays, possibly round roms. Premium members will get my place tomorrow, probably on Friday morning. By Friday morning. Let's move on to just one more fight. We only got a few minutes here. Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Oezdemir. And I mean, this is another Russian, 15-1. I mean, I've made some money on Magomed too. I think if you just bet Russians, you're going to win in the UFC. I mean, Volkan Oezdemir, I faded him a couple times and was in one. I bet Yuri last one, and that was easy. I still can't figure out how he beat Latifi. I have to kind of just try to remember that fight. He lost to Dominic Reyes. He lost to Anthony Smith.
I thought he beat Reyes. I had him that fight, and it was one of those overseas ones. It's in the early afternoon on a Saturday. I was so pissed because I thought Oezdemir beat Reyes, but obviously I had money on him. I could have been wrong.
Right. Here's the problem with Magomed.
It was a split decision. Go ahead. Sorry.
My problem with Magomed is that, I mean, he went to decision with Krylov. His last 3 fights were KOs, and then you kind of get into the part where he was just growing, right? He lost the Bear Jew, Paul Craig, and I mean, he got submitted by the Bear Jew, right? I mean, that's what happens.
It happens against the Bear Jew.
It just happens, man. You know, he can get Bear Jew be losing, all of a sudden you see a tap out, and you're like, what the hell?
Right.
Magomed 8 KOs, no submissions, and 6 decisions. That's kind of strange for a Russian fighter here. You know, his only loss was that submission. But I mean, I think the way I'm going to approach this one, I don't think it gets the decision. I think it's going to be a KO, but I'm not as convinced with this. I might just use Magomed in a parlay, but you know, I could see myself putting a little bit on Magomed by the KO. If you look at Magomed, he doesn't have the numbers. Like if you're looking at significant strikes, Oezdemir actually wins in that 5 to 3.41. Accuracy, I guess Magomed's got a little bit. I believe Magomed's the correct favorite in this, but I actually think that he's a little bit pricey at minus 310. I think Volkan, if anything, if you're just going to go side on this, you'd almost bet Volkan. So my only thoughts is, do you take Magomed by KO, which is only plus 100, or you just use him in a parlay and hope he wins? You know, that's my thoughts. Anything?
Yeah, I agree exactly with you. I think Magomed should be favored, especially the way he trashed Cutabella, but really both those times, although it was an early stoppage the first time. But man, so I'm not as down on Volkan as you are. I mean, he beat Alexander Rakic. He beat Latifi. And I just went to MMAdecisions.com to look up what the media scored the Reyes fight. Okay, 5 media members scored it 30-27 Oezdemir. 6 media members scored it 29-28 Oezdemir. And 8 media members scored it 29-28 Reyes. So it was 11-8 in favor of Oezdemir, but 5 of them had it 30-27. So I'm pissed off about that fight. I am pissed off, regenerated venom on that. And I think I'm gonna have a little bit on Oezdemir, just a little touch, you know, big dog. I mean Oezdemir. I mean, look, he was never gonna beat Cormier. His first 3 wins in the UFC, he knocks out Serkinov, Manawa. He beats OSP. Then he loses to Cormier. Duh, he was gonna lose that. Anthony Smith was rolling in 2018. He loses to him. And then I thought he beat Reyes. And then he beats Latifi. He beats Rakic. And then I think Yuri that's who, I mean, Blachowicz is the guy right now, but Yuri is the best 205er in the world.
I was just saying, I want to see Yuri versus
He's the best 205er in the world. I'm putting a little bit on Volkan, just a touch, not a lot.
All right. No, that's fair enough. And, you know, I'm not 100% convinced on Magomed either, and he's overpriced. So maybe I just even put an X through. Imagine this one's screwing up your parlay this early.
Right.
Sitting there, it's the beginning of the freaking main card, and your parlay's blown because of Magomed. We'll see. That's why I was thinking maybe I just do a little, see if he gets a KO. Like I just keep thinking about the Cutabella fight, how he just beat the hell out of him twice.
God.
Yeah.
And Cutabella was so pissed. You thought for sure Cutabella is just going to have such a good effort, and he just gets blasted.
And the reason I don't think that Volkan has a great ground game, so it's going to be a standard
He doesn't.
fight. So he's susceptible for a knockout. That's the other end of the KO handicap. So maybe I'll stick small with that one, baby. Well, Brian, we went a while, man, and it was
that's all right. I got time to get to the barber. Let me throw out one more thing.
All right.
Giants get a little bit +10 now, and even if they don't get any of their guys back, I think we've got a decent shot at +10. But I think you get it right now because it's Monday night, and if Kadarius Toney and Saquon are ready to go, and they got all the way till Monday. And how long? So when did Saquon do the ankle? The New Orleans game? No, it's been like 3 weeks though, right?
I think this would be the third week. Is he on IR?
No. I mean, I saw how swollen the ankle was. It was pretty bad, but I mean, 3 weeks, he's got to be close. Anyway, really just if they got Kadarius Toney. But if they get Kadarius Toney, Saquon, and Galladay, and Sterling Shepard, they're going to win that game outright.
He's questionable. So, yeah, maybe so. Wow, that another bad game for KC.
And look, everybody should be fading KC anyway. Oh, and one last stat on the Giants. They were 19-3 against the spread. Their last 22 as road underdogs going into that Dallas game where when Jones gets hurt, they're on the 1 yard line and they score the next play to make it 7-7. Obviously, they got blown out from there because Mike Glennon is not Daniel Jones. And by the way, Daniel Jones has had a pretty good year, in my opinion. And so the Giants are money as road underdogs. KC should be at the top of your fade list. And if the Giants get Toney, Saquon, if they just get Toney back alone, they're definitely covering and maybe winning.
All right, my man. Sounds good. Thank you for that extra play, Brian. Where could our listeners get your great info and plays?
My Twitter is at VegasBEdwards. All my picks are at VegasInsider.com and BrianEdwardsSports.com. I also do a lot of content with MajorWager.com, and you can also do some injury updates on that Twitter account, which is at MajorWager Uno, UNO. And I do a podcast every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Central with the A to Z sports guys in Nashville, ATOZ Sports. And you can go to their follow them on Twitter, and they tweet out the show, or you can find it on their YouTube page every Tuesday and Friday if you wish. Kiev, thanks, my brother. I hope the Badgers and Gators win this week.
That's right, baby. Thank you so much, Brian. Go Badgers and go Gators.